we got the biggest batch of LEGO leaks that I honestly have ever seen, and there's one thing that that survey didn't explicitly mention, but I heard loud and clear: LEGO is struggling and is very scared. And I say struggling quite loosely because when you're a Danish company that is constantly expanding and opening a new office in Boston, as well as a new factory in Taiwan, and also investing $1 million into the metaverse, I feel like we're doing quite well. But by capitalism standpoints, you know, no growth is not good, and I feel like recently LEGO have just pushed fans too far, and as a result, they aren't buying as much. And this is clear as day to see, firstly, just by the constant amount of deals and sales and promotions that LEGO has been running over the last couple of months, majority of which I feel started during VIP weekend of November 2022, as LEGO put a lot of their direct-to-consumer sets on sale. Most notably, I think, was the LEGO Ideas foosball table, which had only come out at the beginning of that month and was already being sold for 20% off. Recently, there was another double VIP points weekend, and the foosball table ended up going down to 40% off, as well as a lot of other sets being discounted, including the giant Marvel Hulkbuster, which notoriously I think is an awful set. There was also the Marvel Black Panther bust, the Atari. Even recently in Australian certified stores, they were discounting the Razor Crest over Christmas, and a bunch of the other sets that were featured here too. There was also the Hogwarts Express getting discounted using a VIP point bonus, and a lot of these sets, you'll notice, tend to have very high price tags. Now, in LEGO's ventures recently, in order to gain a lot of new adults, as well as just a larger fan base, they have been trialing a lot of sort of one-off direct-to-consumer sets, one of which that I feel like flopped pretty badly was the Adidas shoe. That one I think really stands out as a weird sort of test run. There was also Optimus Prime, which did a lot better, but I have also actually seen discounted. Thanks to JB Brick Fanatic and LEGO Ideas, we also have this BTS set, which honestly I think is going to do fantastic. I'm really excited for this one. But there have also been a lot of misses when it comes to these sets, as the thing is with LEGO, the price point in order to make these giant scale model of things is incredibly high, unlike a lot of their other competitors. While the Titanic was one of LEGO's more successful ventures in this regard, you still had to shell out several hundreds of dollars in order to get this model. However, in terms of the Hulkbuster, paying $500 for these things really was not a good deal, so it doesn't surprise me that LEGO did put out a survey. Now, admittedly, there was a lot of really exciting sets in that survey that honestly I think would have sold better than things like the Black Panther bust, the Hulkbuster, the Atari, the foosball table. However, at these still really high price points, I'm very interested to see how they sell, as I can see a lot of people holding back. Rivendell is going to be the first of these sort of like new wave of giant direct-to-consumer sets at $500 US. This set is honestly gorgeous. I really like it. I really want it. However, at that price tag, I'm not buying this thing anytime soon, and that's if I even buy it at all. Not only is it giant to display, but it is a huge financial commitment for something like that, and on top of that as well, I have my eyes on the UCS Falcon, which is an even bigger financial commitment, and I feel like that's just the state of LEGO these days, is because there are so many sets that are around that price point. You really actually just gotta sit back and tell yourself, you know, is it actually worth it to continue with this hobby? Now, the main reason for these leaks even getting out is because the survey was essentially asking what fans would pay for a set like this. And I mean, when LEGO is trying to target a bunch of different adults, clearly by releasing a Legend of Zelda set, as well as expanding their Disney range and bringing back Lord of the Rings and things like that, they're clearly trying to target a very different market. Maybe these consumers are only going to buy one big set a year, but I often find with IPs and just sort of areas of interest that LEGO cover, being Star Wars and video games and all these other types of very nerdy properties, there is also a lot of crossover here, which makes me think that a lot of the time people aren't just buying one. Now, out of all of the leaks, the one that I felt was the most risky was honestly going to be the Gotham City portrait. Now, it did look really cool. If you've seen the leaked images, I think it looks really amazing, but at that price point, again, I think this is going to be a really poor seller. Same with the Sorting Hat, and that is saying it as a Harry Potter fan who buys every single Harry Potter set. I personally have no interest in this. I am buying it purely because I am on the quest to have every LEGO Harry Potter set. I don't think that Harry Potter fans are gonna want a brick-built Sorting Hat when you can hop over down to Universal and buy one for probably maybe 30 bucks. Similarly, we have the Burrow. Now, this is one that I'm really excited to see. However, the playset version was sufficient enough. It's significantly cheaper. It's easier for people to just pick up on a whim at Target, and you really don't have to have a whole conversation with yourself about, hey, can I actually afford this? Do I actually want this? Is it going to be worth the money? And more importantly, is it going to be worth the value for what I'm spending? Not just the D2Cs that I feel like have been a big issue, as last year LEGO increased their prices, presumably down to inflation, or at least that's what we were told. However, in the same time, they have been cutting a lot of corners, and the quality overall has seemingly decreased in many areas, that being instruction manuals. I've also seen a lot of errors with boxes. There have been more errors within the sets and with missing parts and having pieces that don't even exist in the set happening, and overall there has just been a massive uptick in customer complaints in this regard. Whereas a couple of years ago, before LEGO spread themselves too thin, these things were very rare and they had very few issues and also still had that same amazing customer service. However, I also wonder if the actual customer service team is doing okay these days with the amount of complaints they must be getting. On top of all of these things, one thing that did happen recently, which I haven't heard people talk too much about, is that LEGO has actually removed one of the benefits of their employees for their in-store workers. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, if you work at a LEGO store, there are some pretty great benefits. While your pay may not be very great, if you were a LEGO fan, you are going to get a lot of joy and value out of working there. Firstly, you get an annual budget that gives you 50% off all LEGO sets. Another benefit was that you would get the employee gift at the end of the year. And lastly, you would get every single gift with purchase that LEGO has to offer. So when May the 4th rolls around, you don't have to go and buy twice the amount of stuff with your 50% off discount just to get the promo. However, LEGO has cut giving out the gift with purchases to their employees, which is ironic considering, you know, these types of sets really don't cost them that much, and for their employees as well, who are the face of the brand and do so much for LEGO and are upkeeping their amazing customer service and also dealing with a lot of complaints and problems, whether that be from kids or angry AFOLs all day. That is the least you can do, is give your employees a free gift with purchase. Now, this would be fine if LEGO increased the wages of their employees, or maybe even increase the budget that they get of that 50% and just give them a benefit in some other way, shape or form. However, that has not happened. So to anyone who works at a LEGO store, the next time you get a survey and get to talk about your experience working in the store, don't forget to complain about how they took your promos away so that you can get that back. So not only have LEGO pushed the average LEGO fans to their limits, but they have also pushed the ones who even go and work for them to their limits by just making things so much more frustrating because of how tight that they are being recently. Which again, given how much they report in profits, it is really not a good look overall. So not only have they increased prices and done pretty poorly when it comes to employee compensation, I have also noticed recently that I feel like when it comes to the ambassadors for LEGO, there is becoming more and more of a disconnect between them and the average consumer. Now, I used to be a part of this program, and admittedly as well, you can get very caught up in it and sort of lose sight, if you are not careful, to actually, you know, how much a LEGO costs, how much people are having to spend in order to get the items that you are getting sent for free. Because LEGO is making so many giant D2C sets, they are having to send out lots of them, and many people are getting these back to back, these giant expensive sets that in total cost them several thousands of dollars, and hearing all the time that, hey, you should go and buy this, hey, this is well worth it, hey, you're being too harsh on the price, it really makes it feel like those people are getting out of touch with what the average consumer would buy. And that's not to say that the sets that they are reviewing are bad in any way, shape or form, but I feel like the financial side of things is definitely something that can get overlooked, and it is very easy as well to overlook when you physically are not spending that money. And as a result, not only is LEGO being painted in a bad light, but they are letting their ambassadors be painted in a bad light, and really it is not a good thing a lot of the time. I don't necessarily know how that could be solved or fixed or improved upon in any way, but the financial side of things is definitely something that I feel like has not been touched on as much as it should, especially with the amount that LEGO is releasing back to back. It is crazy. And occasionally people will touch on it, whether that just be a comment in a review or maybe even a dedicated post. However, I feel like given, you know, the world's circumstances as well as the world of LEGO at the moment, it definitely should be touched on a little bit more, I feel like, because otherwise it does feel like these people are very distant from what the average LEGO consumer is buying. LEGO themselves also aren't afraid to make those ambassadors look stupid, because recently they have not been giving their ambassadors any information towards gift with purchases when they send them out for free. Going from not doing many gift with purchases, LEGO recently has had a lot back to back, which makes me think again, their sales aren't doing so good because they're constantly having to incentivize people to actually go and spend money directly at their stores. However, at the same time, the ambassadors that they are sending these gift with purchases out to go and promote are not getting any information about price thresholds. All of the information regarding price thresholds currently is all just rumors, which unfortunately means that they are promoting just the set based as a set, which is pretty fair. However, given that a gift with purchase is something that you need to spend a considerably high amount in order to get, and can often have certain restrictions in regards to what sets actually qualify justify you for the gift with purchase, it is not a good look on them. And honestly, I don't even put that down to the ambassadors. That is Lego's fault. It honestly feels that they are throwing these people under the bus in order to get people through the door and buying these products because of how great they hear they are from these ambassadors. All of a sudden, you will have that desire to go out and get it. However, you have no knowledge about how much you actually need to spend in order to get that shiny desired box. All of these things have pushed Lego fans too far, and a lot of people are not biting anymore. I have cut down on my Lego buying significantly. I have been buying more retired things or more secondhand things or things from third-party sellers instead, and I just don't like going direct to Lego anymore unless it is for PAB or as a set that I need on release or as early as possible to make a video and make content on. I'm at the point where I would much rather spend money on retired Lego because that seems to have at least somewhat a justifiable high price point rather than the newer stuff that is coming out, and oftentimes as well the quality is better and it just makes me feel a lot better about buying it. I have seen so many discounts on Lego sets recently, whether that be on Costco or on Amazon or even from Lego themselves, that nothing makes sense to go and buy day one at this point. Even Rivendell, a $500 set, all you get as a bonus is a Brickhead set that came out a couple of months ago, and presumably that is because it is not selling well. For a $500 set, that is not incentive enough. Again, the set is beautiful, but at this point, why would you go and buy it when you can just wait a couple of weeks or maybe months until a double VIP point event and actually make it worth it? I love Lego and I love their sets. However, some of their practices recently have not been very good, and I have been very vocal about that. I do not like the fact that their quality is decreasing. I do not like the trends of having constantly expensive sets. The fact that I see a small set like the Up House come out and get really excited because it's going to be relatively priced is not a good thing, especially when I think back to Lego and what it was like as a kid, and that the most expensive set and the one that was too expensive for me was Diagon Alley, and that cost around $200. I can't imagine what it's like for kids these days seeing sets like the Daily Bugle and the Sanctum Sanctorum and all of these giant direct-to-consumer sets and just knowing that that is so far out of reach. Honestly as well, I'm surprised that instead of cutting down, Lego made a survey to see if people were going to be willing to buy these sets at those high price points. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for a lot of those things to come out. However, I'm going to be very cautious, and I hope you guys are too. The world of Lego and the world of collecting is such a hard place to be in because I often find myself always wanting all of these brand new things and getting sucked into that mindset, but I often have to take a step back and realize, hey, this is not worth it. You don't need to buy every set. You don't need to buy a set on release day. Be very cautious with how you're spending your money because Lego is really pushing everyone to their limit right now, and it is not a good thing to see from a company and a product that I love so dearly. I can see everything slowing down pretty drastically over the next couple of years, just considering how the resale market has been going, as well as just Lego's retail market alone, and if that is kind of out of control, everything else is probably going to collapse a little bit around it. I don't necessarily think it's going to crash, but with the amount of people that are slowing down their purchases as well as just quitting the hobby entirely, I think the landscape of the Lego community is going to change pretty drastically sometime soon. I'm really interested to know what your Lego interests and spending habits have been over the last couple of months because I know that mine have just completely changed. I am so much more careful and cautious and selective with my set buying, but please let me know about yourself down in the comments below. There is a lot of really great and exciting sets coming out in the next couple of months, but just remember, be very, very careful. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing to my channel down below, and until next time guys, I'll see you later.